on the go. We might have the best technologies, best devices, best iPhones, sexy Android devices, all this good stuff, but if the energy is not the right place and we do not take advantage of the energy and the technology need from a green perspective, everything else goes away. So energy, green computing is one big trend. The number two big trend happening in the technology space today is virtualization. There are huge opportunities around virtualization. And virtualization technologies and techniques are actually making computing cheap and accessible from anywhere. The third area we see huge opportunities where there's going to be a lot of value created is cloud computing. And people usually ask me, what is cloud computing? There are a lot of, obviously, discussions about cloud computing. Overall, in simple terms, one simple device, regardless of what the device is, and ubiquitous access to content from anywhere. The content is somewhere that you're not owning the content, but shareable over the private or public networks. This by itself creates a lot of opportunities, especially in education and online learning, in e-learning space. Fourth area we see a lot of opportunities, obviously, mobility. Mobility in general, a huge trend where the information access becomes available even in those regions that the technology did not speed up at a level that the infrastructure is available. In places like in Asia, in Southeast Asia, and Africa, we see countries and cities and states and regions in which there is no cable infrastructure, there is no infrastructure for data transformation or data transfer, but with satellite networks now we can deliver network content to any area even though we don't have any infrastructure built in under the ground or above the ground. So mobility and connectivity now is above the ground. Now in the air, connecting all these things together, from green to virtual to cloud. Having said that, for those four trends, from virtual, from green, from cloud to mobility, the overall connectedness, unified computing, unified communication technologies, making all these things come together. And all these five components, the technology revolution, beyond just telecommunications over the past 10 to 20 years, is creating huge opportunities, obviously, in the marketplace, and a lot of value creation. And at the bottom of the story, obviously, to give that content with the right application, with the right peripheral, to the right user, anywhere, anytime, as cost effectively as possible. And unfortunately, up until now, that did not take place. Information technology vendors, telecommunications vendors, telcos, and content providers never work together. In this capitalistic world of ours, everybody started and tried to make money in their own ecosystem. But with the internet, with the Web 3.0, social media, and everything is going on around the mobility and all those five things I just shared with you, that capitalistic ecosystem is being completely modified now. In that modification process, in that transformation process, there are a lot of opportunity, obviously, for entrepreneurs, for IT professionals and IT vendors, for people who are in telco and content business. First time in our history, the telco, the content provider, like a newspaper, or any kind of a web-driven content provider, now have to work with the IT ecosystem to deliver that content to the right person at the right level. Again, at home, at work, and on the go. In that ecosystem, the old school of computing, the old school of technologies obviously are not necessarily the assets of the ecosystem, but they are actually the liabilities of the ecosystem. So if you don't remember anything from this presentation, just remember this slide. From mainframe revolution to client server and networking over the past 40 years, we came up with this thing called PC, personal computer. That doesn't stand for political correctness, by the way, but doesn't at all. It's all about the PC and what PC brought us over the past 30, 40 years as an asset. But with all these new innovation from a technology perspective, where green virtualization, cloud computing, mobility, and overall connectedness on the top coming together, PC and surrounding technologies and liabilities around PC become the biggest blockage for innovation and obviously for development. The reason being, in the PC ecosystem and everything attaching to the PC, from the hard disk, the technology, the overall usage process of PC, the maintenance, security, and everything around the PC is making the overall computing so difficult, so expensive that it becomes prohibitive from a usage perspective, especially in a big part of the world. According to UN statistics, 70% of the human population still doesn't have internet access with a device like a PC. We have nearly 800 million computers in the world. Some people say 1 billion. When you compare that with 6+ billion people, that's a very low rate. Having said that, there are about 3 billion phones, of which about 500 million on the internet. What we call the smartphones. As PCs are going down in numbers, smartphones are increasing 20, 30, 40% year over year, accessing the world population. Not only in the old world, but also the new world. In that context, this new technology revolution and evolution obviously is bringing a lot of opportunity to take advantage of that blockage and turn it into a new ecosystem in which any user, anywhere can access information from any location at any time. And the content doesn't have to be in a certain type of a format or standard, just like it is in a PC. A typical PC. Anybody knows how many watts that a typical PC uses? Any numbers? Go ahead, yell at me. 100, good try. You might be working for a PC vendor. Any other ideas? 700? That's a little bit too high, but I'm with you. It will be great to push the story even for more PCs. PCs go from 80 watts to up to 350 watts, depending on the power structure and ecosystem. But these numbers are close. That number is a little bit higher. The PCs from the last 5-7 years were at a very higher rate. They're coming back. A typical cloud client, a thin device, brings that number down to 20 to 30 watts. A typical new cloud client that we as a vendor are working on right now is bringing that down below 7 watts. Under 12 watts, we can get our electrical power from Ethernet. Ethernet has 12 watts residual power in it, worldwide. You remember the old phones we used to use in different countries 30, 40 years ago? Even if you had an electrical power outage, the phone still would work. Remember? There's enough voltage, enough wattage in the overall network. Same thing with computing today. So overall, we are in an environment in which it's not just the technology and the design and the innovation, but overall user experience with the right application, right content, with the right peripheral. And in a way, it is green, it is always connected, it's virtualized, and hopefully it is cloud-driven without requiring a lot of infrastructure, which costs money. And in some places, it's not only the price, it's not just not available. So as we're moving forward with the